All right. Good afternoon. I am here on a special assignment. We've got my friend Teresa Tarn, senior pro pickleball player. This is bonus interview action. And I guess, Teresa, what we want to do is just start with basically, your life. Where did it start? I mean, you come out of the womb and your mom says she's going to be a professional, senior pro pickleball player. But seriously, before that, what sports were you involved, say, in university and all that?
So basically, I started very young bowling. That's what my parents did. So I competed in bowling. And then I picked up softball and then added volleyball and then basketball. So I played 3 sports all the way through high school. And then I went to LCC, Lansing Community College, got a full ride scholarship, walked on Michigan State, and got a full ride scholarship playing third base at Michigan State. Dabbled a little bit in pitching, didn't enjoy pitching as much because
the bowling didn't come into the pitching, didn't cross over.
Correct. And so I did not enjoy that part of it and the stress that came along with the pitching. So I stuck exclusively to third base, and then I played a little bit of first base my last year. So
okay, so interesting. So really, it was mostly softball, I'm assuming, as a Spartan. And after university, what did you take up after that, or did you go any tennis or?
So basically, after softball, I was a personal trainer. I did that route. I taught aerobics.
Oh, yeah. Bigger than mine.
The sun's out, guns out, right? But basically, I went into where was I going with this? See, you're talking about guns, and now
so personal training.
Personal training. I dabbled in aerobics, and from there, I went into competitive fitness building. And
wow.
I really went hard at competitive fitness building, and then I was playing in a church league and broke the tip of my finger playing volleyball. Successful tip behind the block and broke it in 3 places, 3 pins, and no more volleyball for me. So I gave up on my fitness building because it was 6 months that I put into that, getting up every morning. I still had young kids, so I was getting up at 5 a.m. to get my workouts in and doing all my weights and everything before they got out of bed. And so I gave up on that, and then we moved to Midland, Michigan, and I dabbled in tennis. They have the Midland Community Tennis Center. It has 18 indoor courts and 18 outdoor courts along with clay courts. And so I thought,
need the indoor in Michigan versus Florida, right?
So I went into tennis and I played 10 years. I got up to a 4-5 in USTA, competing regularly, and then an injury came along. I hurt my hip, and so I was out for a year out of tennis because obviously the court's so big. And from there, I didn't know what I was going to do, and ended up talking to Simone because Simone is was former MSU tennis coach. And so
that's right.
Simone, I have ties with her, and said, you really need to try pickleball. I mean, pickleball. And I'm like, no, it's a weird paddle. It's a plastic weird ball. And no, it's not a hard ball. It's not a bat. And so I turned her down for like 5 years. Her husband was coaching my son in baseball. Small world.
Wow, very small world.
Very small world. Chad was my son's baseball coach and travel baseball. And so I hung out with Simone and Chad and the kids. It was just their daughter at the time. But finally, I gave pickleball a chance. A CEO of one of the small clubs dragged me in and said, I've got 3 guys. We want to play. And so we played, and within the first 5 minutes, I was hooked.
Yeah.
It was like my dream sport.
Yeah, that I was too. I came from tennis as well. And interestingly to me, as soon as you walk on the pickleball court, and it's so much more sociable, and actually this older guy in his 80s beat me, and I said, oh my God, I'm going to learn this game because this got me bad.
Absolutely.
And so that is really remarkable. So this must have been, when did you start pickleball playing? Would you figure how many years ago?
It'll be 4.5 years now.
4.5 years, and that was after competitive tennis. I know that we're getting a lot of competitive tennis players coming through. Do you believe tennis is probably the best crossover to getting into pickleball?
I really do. I think tennis is the way, that racquetball, ping pong, you know, a lot of those sports as well. But I really think tennis is the real big draw right now.
I don't know in racquetball if you've really got the top spin that you really can use as your forehand top spin cross court. It's probably one of the best I've ever seen.
Awesome.
So you started about 4.5 years ago. If you could briefly tell us, like, how did you go from, you know, let's say wherever you started, because you came such a high level tennis, you probably started out as a 4.0, 4.5, but
I did not. I did
not. How was your path to senior pro? Take us a little bit through that.
So my path was very simplistic. I literally started at 3.5. Thank you very much. Because I didn't know. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know. So I picked up literally that weekend we played. The very next weekend, I was in my first tournament. That's how quick it happened. That tournament, I won 2 matches. We were 2-2, and at 3.5, and I was like, okay, they're doing stacking. What is that? I'm like, are you allowed to do that? Like, I didn't know any of the rules, so I was like freaking out. And so from there, I entered every single tournament I could possibly enter. And then I went from 3.5. That first tournament, I did not medal. I went to 4.0. I medaled in every tournament at 4.0. And everybody was yelling at me. It was time to move up. So I moved up to 4.5. I medaled in every tournament that I played in 4.5, doubles and mixed. I was very blessed because I had great partners to start with.
My partners have all sucked. That's why I have not medaled in all my 4.5s.
And then I went to 5.0 and medaled in every tournament that I played in, except one. And so the natural progression, COVID came along. And I'm like, okay, what do we do now? I mean, we have COVID. So everything in Michigan was shut down. I'll never forget the date. It was March 16th. And they shut down everything. And I went, okay, it's March. I want to play pickleball. And
DeSantis invited you down?
Yeah, right. No, actually, I literally was playing in the snow. Wow. Snowflakes were falling, but we finally were playing. Everybody had their Germex and all their stuff. And from there, I was like, okay, husband, what's next? You know, what's the next path? And he's like, well, you've been talking about senior pro. There's a lot of people that were on the senior pro tour. And so now they're called champions pros, actually, but it's senior pro. 50 and over. I'm sticking with it.
A nice word for older people.
A nice word for champions tour. So yeah, I attempted my first tournament. You won't believe it, was here. Out of all places, and I will never forget, it was January to start the year off, and I played some of the top names, Mircha, Mararu, and Julie Johnson, and I got tagged. I mean, I got body bagged more than you'll ever know. I had bruises. I was a walking bruise after Mircha hit me quite a few times, and I went, I don't know if I'm really ready for senior pro. But, you know, I through the process, and this has been a very difficult process. Tears, frustration, questioning my athletic ability, questioning. It really comes down to partners. Do you have chemistry with your partner? And, you know, if you have that chemistry and you know the nuance of the game, it's a chess match in senior pro. I mean, you're really working the ball on the outside corners and mixed. Women's game is becoming harder and faster all the time. We're trying to slow down the ball against the people that like to hit really hard, but for the most part.
That might be what your opponent said after this past tournament.
Right, trying to slow it down.
Yeah. So just a recap, and this is why we're so fortunate to have Teresa Tarn with us. She was a silver medal winner at the last, it was run by National Pickleball League, but it was part of the Senior Pro Tour. I think it was event number 6 for the year or something. And you guys won the winner's bracket.
We did.
And your partner, Chandra Moore.
Yes, Chandra is, she owns UMR, which is Upper Manatee Road Sports Complex. So she has her own courts.
Which we like to get back to Florida, Southwest Florida. She's got her courts up there. And,
correct.
And how did you get hooked up with her? Like, 'cause she hasn't played a senior pro event, had she?
She played one PPA in Orlando last December. and she was in the same tournament as I was. But I've been begging her for a little over a year to play with me. I just love her personality. I love the person that she is. And I love our chemistry together. We've done a lot of rec games and we've had a lot of fun together, but we've never entered a tournament together. So I begged her. She had her former partner that she played tournaments with, and she finally agreed.
Yeah, it was truly something to behold. Spaghetti Man here's got that match on video. Check out, please subscribe to his channel. That's an easy way to get to it. Yeah, that match was incredible. Like I think I told you, I thought that was the best you played, and I think that it was partly because you were really meshing well with your partner, and you guys seemed to be on the same page with everything. I felt like you were the more knowledgeable and a little bit more dominant force. I felt like they were actually hitting more balls to Chandra, and yet you were able to get Chandra into a comfortable place on the court. Because I think even at times, sometimes you were stacking on the right, sometimes on the left, and it just seemed like sometimes it's not always about you, but how do you get your partner to play best? And I think that was
correct.
That was amazing.
She was a little insecure and she was a little nervous. And I said, we have nothing to lose, everything to gain, nothing to prove.
That's awesome.
And so
write that down on your blackboard, on your
exactly.
bedroom wall.
And it really, that chemistry was formed by not only our friendship, but the fact that I put no pressure on her.
Yeah.
I did not want her to feel any pressure at all. I just wanted her to feel loose and play her game. And that's what I kept telling her over and over again. Play your game.
Yeah.
I trust you. I love you. And just do your thing. And
if you lose, maybe I don't love you as much now.
No.
I know you're never like that.
We actually signed a little pact, an imaginary pact that we are now partners moving forward for a while. So, but I won't hold her to that pact. She won't have to be stuck with me. But I adore her. And that chemistry really is what was so valuable for us, because we laughed. We smiled, even when we made mistakes.
Yeah.
It was already forgotten the minute that it happened. So it was just an amazing experience and the best I've played. You're right.
Yeah, it was fantastic to watch, and I actually do feel like you play very well also with your male partner Bob White, and you guys did well in that tournament. Very competitive. Unfortunately, I think you just ran into the medal winners, I believe. So
we ran into the gold medal winners.
Yes, and that's what seems to happen with you guys
every time.
A little bit too often, you know. But
we were 2-2, and we ran into Dan Granat and Angela Simon, which are Angela Simon was also who we played in the women's division as well. She's a phenomenal player.
And if we could just cover maybe one or two of your other tournaments, I know you had a good showing with Paul Olin. I believe you guys
We took silver in the Gamma Classic.
Silver, and that was up in Pittsburgh.
That was in Pittsburgh. Gamma, with Gamma being my sponsor, we always go to the Gamma Classic in Pittsburgh. And I played with Paul. Paul's a phenomenal player. He was a great partner, and I really enjoyed playing with him. I'm going to try to talk him into playing with me again, hopefully. But you know, he's really up there. He's climbed the ladder, and he's taking home medals every single tournament, basically.
He does, especially in singles. He seems like a pretty intense guy, though. But he's
very intense. There is not a lot of communication when it comes to, and you're kind of floating out there on your own, but that's okay, because I don't need somebody holding my hand.
Right. So, I didn't see you laughing, I'm not so sure, as much with him as you did with Chandra.
That was 150% pure focus. Do not screw up.
Yeah, do not get the ball over the net.
Get the ball over the net.
So, and that gets maybe to, you've had a few partners, and some of them have been great. What would be your favorite partner attributes when you look for a partner?
First and foremost, supportive. I don't need eye rolls and body language. You have to be very careful. I was going to be a sports psychologist, and I decided I didn't want to work with people that were always upset, because I'm a very positive person. I do not dwell on negative. I don't like to be around negative. So the biggest thing for me is that positivity, that let me play loose, let me play my game. And if you're not willing to let me play my game, then probably you're not the right partner. And
hopefully your partner is actually kind of decent at pickleball, is usually a good one too. Yeah. Least favorite attributes, I guess obviously negativity is going to be high on your list, but
But body language is really huge.
Interesting. Body language.
Body language you see all the time. The dropping of the shoulders, the playing to the crowd of, oh, you know, she made another mistake or he made another mistake again, or eye rolls. Or,
I'm going to need to remember this for my mixed partners, I think. The guys a little bit maybe different as much, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I've had both partners. I've had some really negative things said to me, but I don't internalize those. I use those as fuel. So that's how I turn that negativity around, and I use it as fuel to fire me up and make me play better.
So for, let's say for mix and for ladies, do you prefer someone who wants to play slower, faster, or do you just basically adjust your game to however what makes them comfortable? Or
to win today, you have to be able to adjust. I mean, personally, I would like that my partner to be that person that is consistent, can dig balls out, is not afraid of a attack coming at them. I've played with women before, not so much men, but women who turn their back. If you pop up a ball, they turn around because they're afraid that they're going to get hit. Whereas me playing third base at Michigan State, getting hit with softballs, this little plastic ball is nothing.
Or that first senior pro event where you had all the bruises.
I had bruises, and now I've learned.
How do you say his name?
Murcha.
We're famous for butchering all the names around here, so thank you.
Yeah, no, so that's just the biggest part is don't be afraid and let people play loose and that type of thing. So
yeah. So we've got a bunch of other topics, but before we move on, is there anything else that you can think about, like your path in pickleball that you would want to go over before we get to some money topics, being sponsors, which
right, sponsors
you
are big.
You want to move on to sponsors, or you got anything else? Yeah. So
you know, I just think that the only thing that I can really add is being a supportive partner. Finding partners are the hardest. Everybody goes through it at every level. So I have, with me teaching here at the Pickleplex, I think that the biggest thing is you have to understand that all levels struggle with getting partners. So just embrace the fact that that's part of the process, and put yourself out there. Be willing to ask. Be willing to say. Be willing to get a no. I think that that's the hardest part. I might have gotten 10 no's or 12 no's before I finally found the partner that I was going to play with. So it can be crushing, but just understand it's part of the process.
That's amazing, because we've got so many 3.5, 3.0,
correct,
4.0 players out there, and I think that's a great lead in, as you know, just how to find the partners. So we do want to get to TT's sponsors. We've got MPL. We obviously have Gamma Pickleball. There's a nice picture of Teresa Tarn back there. What else do we have up here?
So I have many affiliates and sponsors as well. JoJo and Low Pickleball is from my home state in Michigan. There are a couple ladies that have really supported me, and they've done a great job of putting quality merchandise out there. Just the cutest clothes, very comfortable, and a lot of fun. OS First socks, the pickleball sock. That was one of my very first sponsors. They're amazing. These are the best socks. I wear them every day, and I have tons of them. So
she might be giving up pickleball to become a salesperson, because you got it.
Yeah, I'm always working it. Canisa sunscreen. This is the most awesome sunscreen ever, but it's because we're in Florida and we're always putting it on. So non-greasy. They have a wonderful zinc that goes on clear. So that's one of my favorites. And then one of my new ones is the Vega 40. It is an amazing ball. It is actually between the Dura and the Franklin. But it stays in round. You can play many games with them, and it's actually gotten great reviews on USA Pickleball now. So there's a lot of places that this ball is going to be seen.
Awesome. Yeah, we will be doing a future podcast on ball, so we will include that ball in the comparisons with Franklin and Dura and whatnot.
Perfect.
So thank you very much. And we also have Spaghetti Man sponsor Engage. Need to throw that out there. And again, please click subscribe. That really helps us provide these podcasts. Hopefully they're informative and fun for you all, and it doesn't cost you anything, and you know, all the likes and subscribes help us. So let's get on to another what you see in pickleball. So we've got a lot of senior pro tours kind of coming about here and there. Maybe you can just tell us how you feel about, it seems like PPA is moving away from the senior pro tour. APP seems to still kind of like the senior pros, but now we've got a new senior pro tour. Matthias, is that how you pronounce it? Matthias. I'm so sorry to butcher that again. I talked to him here. He explained to me how to say his name. I didn't get it. So can you briefly talk about the three and what you think about them, and what would your schedule look like next year, maybe? So.
Oh, that's a really good question. So the National Pickleball is not league. It is National Pickleball, and that's Matthias's new league that they put out. Matthias, Jen Dawson, her husband, Dane Gingrich are all part of the National Pickleball.
So this is part of the senior pro tour. They're calling it. I think they're going for 20 events next year.
That is correct.
Okay.
I know that they're shooting for definitely a full schedule that's going to come out across the country. A lot of them are heavy right now in the West, just because that's where they started. But National Pickleball is a great option. We still have a come around. We still have a loser's bracket that we can work our way back through the back draw.
Which unfortunately you had in the last tournament, or else you would have been gold. But
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it is nice.
And then PPA. I'm not a fan of PPA. And the reason being is they don't pay us. Many people have won tournaments, Chandra included, last December, and she still hasn't been paid. I just played my last PPA in Charlotte, and we literally had 2 feet between the courts. It was so dangerous. We had people running on the courts, balls flying. We had every PPA tournament right now has porta potties. We don't even have facilities that we get to use. I'm not saying that they can't improve. They can. There are things that they can do to improve.
Yeah, and we've talked about that on other podcasts where the tournament costs are extremely expensive. And to be honest, what do you look for in a tournament? It's not always about the PPA name brand. I know everybody likes watching the pros, but it seems like they almost focus solely on the pros.
Correct.
And the amateurs are screwed. They're put on sometimes portable nets with lines drawn,
correct.
2 feet away from each other. I've played it at one PPA event that it was not fun. There was no fencing in between the 3 courts and stuff like that. Another one was pretty decent. Compared to the APP, I think the APP venues are a little bit better. I think they take care of more of the amateur players and stuff. And I don't know, PPA, maybe the amateur players are just there to funnel money to the pros. I don't know. So anyway, back to your...
That's kind of how I feel about it. Okay. Is that especially for the senior pros, there's a very small portion is what we get paid.
Yeah.
I mean, the payouts are ridiculously low. And going back to the fees are just going up. We're now paying parking fees. We're now paying referee fees. We now, the pickle brackets are charging $25 per event when you sign up. So if you sign up for 2 events, it's an extra $50 fee just for signing up. Random fee in it. Yeah. So our fees could be anywhere up to $380 to $420 to $30 for one tournament.
Yeah, and that gets back to one of my statements. As always, your local tournament directors are really good. Southwest Florida's got a few. Sarasari, a couple up
Amazing.
North. Yeah, and those are really good value. So back to your schedule at $400 a crack. Now, obviously, you're in high demand, and you've got a lot of Florida tournaments, and
so that's where the NPL comes in and the APP comes in.
Right. Okay.
So the
thank you.
APP is all inclusive. They are the tour for everyone, and that's what their mantra is. That's their motto. Unfortunately, the APP has come out with senior pros this year with new rules. And those rules specify single elimination. If you lose in the first or second round, you get immediately kicked to the back draw. The best you can do is 9th place. You can't even come attempt for bronze or money. And then you get points. Points don't really mean a whole lot to people because there's no, okay, so you're ranked in the top 20 in the world. Big deal. There's no money that comes along with that. And so the APP is changing direction. Rumor has it, and I don't know if you've heard this rumor or not, that they're going to go to rally scoring for the 2024 season.
Maybe you just heard it here first.
I'm not sure, but those are some of, there's possibilities that rally scoring will become the new norm for the APP.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
It's one of those, sometimes it's good for TV because it keeps the games more known as to how long they're going to be. Obviously, in traditional scoring, it could be 80 individual points.
Right.
Rally scoring usually doesn't go beyond 40. So
correct.
Yeah, so that might be one of the reasons. That's very interesting.
So that's all the stuff for APP, and then I'll jump to the NPL really quick.
Thank you.
NPL, National Pickleball League, was created by Beth Bellamy, Rick Witzkins, Michael Chen, who is a member here at the Pickleplex, and one other person, silent owner. That NPL was created as a team event. We have 5 league matches and 1 championship weekend. So we're on the road for 6 weekends. All of those were hosted at Chicken and Pickle this year. We do not know where they're going to be held next year. We're going, I've already signed my contract with NPL for 2 years now. So I'm on a 2-year contract with them.
Most of those tournaments were in the middle of the country, weren't they?
No, they were all, Chicken and Pickles are all like Dallas, Arizona, they're all on the West Coast.
West Coast, yeah, because I didn't remember any on the East Coast or Florida or anything.
Correct, so we have nothing, but that will change because the NPL is now looking at adding 6 more teams, potentially 12 teams in the NPL, and decreasing the number. We had 18 people on a team the first year, decreasing that number to 12 or 14. So what is my schedule going to look like? I'm just jumping right in. So I have, it's scary. Between teaching here and being on staff here, I also teach with Gamma, so I travel all over the country with Gamma teaching camps and clinics. But we have 6 events next year for NPL. We do not know where they are going to be. And the APP, obviously, with the new rules, are, unfortunately, they also created a team event. And this is very hard to explain, but if you play in the team event, you have first right of refusal to enter the senior pro events. They're having 48 players in the 50 plus, and then I'm not sure how many in the 60 plus, the super senior. So all those spots may be taken. So I may be bumped out of 7 tournaments for the APP because they have first right of refusal.
Wow.
There are 14 tournaments next year in the APP. I planned on doing the majority of them, but now that I may be getting kicked out of 7 of them, I may be doing Matthias's National Pickleball because, A, I like the format better. I like the come around. Generally, you know, I want, if you fly out west, and I don't know if you travel a lot, but if you fly out west, it's 2 to 3 hour time change. You may not feel well. You might lose that first match because you're not on that time schedule. And I want the ability to be able to battle back. And if I do that with APP, now I'm flying all the way across the country, and now I go to losing that first or second round, I'm in that backdraw point. I have no chance to score any money.
Right.
And so, or to even battle back to a medal.
Yes.
I mean, even if it's bronze like the US Open or Nationals. So there's a lot on the line next year.
Right. And Matthias, I believe he explained that because it was created by senior pros, for senior pros,
right.
The payouts are generally trying to higher payouts as far as a percentage of the event fee versus maybe none for the PPA. Well, and then we have some.
Most of our money went to the young pros.
Right, right.
So a percentage of the money that we paid in went to the young pros for APP and PPA.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because, to be honest, if I were running a tournament here in the area, I'm going to go solely for the senior pros. I think they bring in as many or more people. I know that a lot of people who play pickleball still are probably over the age of 40 and everything. So that I really enjoy watching senior pros play better because I relate to it versus watching the pros, but that's just how I am.
I just read that the new age is 34. The average age has dropped down to 34 now.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
which is interesting, but most of those people don't do tournaments.
Right, right, right.
So,
that's really interesting. It is definitely getting younger and faster. The game's getting younger and faster, and
definitely faster.
Do you have anything else on the tournaments?
I think that just basically the like you talked about, the game is getting faster and it's evolving. It's kind of the first attack. Whoever attacks first is generally going to win the point. So I think adding more things to your arsenal. So if you're one of those players at home, sitting at home, how do I get better? How do I go from that 3-0 to 3-5?
Great point.
A, consistency. B, name a sport where you don't drill or practice. So I know a lot of people do not like to drill or practice, and I always say get on the court and drill a couple times a week. My emphasis is drilling 3 times a week and maybe playing once or twice to exercise those shots that I've been working on. But I think that that's the biggest thing. How do I move up? Add more things to your arsenal. Pick up a 2-handed backhand, work on shots that you generally wouldn't work on, see if they work for you. They may not work for you, then try something else.
Particularly great time to drill is when you're trying all these new shots, because there's nothing to lose or gain. Who cares about the game?
And same thing with rec though.
Yeah.
I mean, in rec, that's where you got to try shots. And if you're not willing to try it and the willingness to lose, losing is okay in rec.
Yeah.
You gotta remember,
you don't want to pull out a shot for the first time in a tournament. No. Oh yeah, let's just try this.
No,
where you want a 95%.
So that's better. My only suggestion is just really add to your game. If you want to move up, drill. Take the time to drill. Thank you, Teresa. So we always usually end with questions. So we've got a few questions here. Okay. All right. So let them roll. Yeah. Mike asks, "What are you doing while not playing pickleball? Or does any of that time exist for you? Or traveling to pickleball?" So I would like to say before my injury, because obviously I had an overuse injury. I fractured my scapula and tore my rotator cuff and a micro tear. So I just came back. I've been out 5 months. What do I do before that? I would literally probably be on court 8 to 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. Whether I go to the gym, there's hitting walls over here, I would hit off a wall if I didn't have anybody to play with. I was a little obsessed. Okay, no, a lot obsessed, because I really wanted to get better and I really wanted to win, and I put a lot of pressure on myself. Now I'm a little bit more balanced. So what do I do now? I take days off. I have rest days, which I did not add into my schedule. But my normal schedule looks like any day, drilling 3 hours, gym for 2. Sometimes I'll go and hit the wall for fast hands or to keep my hands out in front of me, because all the shots are now out in front of us. We're not taking big swings and putting the paddle behind us anymore. No more tennis strokes out there. No more tennis strokes. You don't need that big swing. Even on dinking, you don't need to bring the paddle back here. You just keep it out front. There's your little pointer for the day. But generally, it could be 5 to 6 hours a day, and then I have recovery legs, I have a massage chair, I take care of my body now. So I'm glad you brought up the wall, because that is something in the last tournament I mentioned to you, I think that's the fastest I've ever seen your hands. I've noticed a huge increase, and you are beating most of the players, and I think probably hitting against the wall at least once a week is probably one of the best exercises. I personally, I do it 3 to 4 times a week. Not that you're obsessed or anything. No, but I think that it only takes 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah. It doesn't take a long time, but it really helps with keeping your stroke short, so you're not hyperextending out and then ready for the next shot that's coming back. So very good. Next question, Bob asks, not sure who the Bob last name is. Bob. Do you like to be in the kitchen? That's really funny. That's a good question. Yes, I love to be in the kitchen at home. I love cooking, but I would prefer to step back and unload. There you go. Hopefully you like that answer, Bob. Got one last one. I think you kind of covered this one, but we'll ask it again. Nate asks, how many hours do you drill train? How many hours do you play a week? And I think you covered most of that. But if there's anything else that you want to add to that. I think really mixing up your drilling partners, because good point. I think that drilling with the same person consistently, and I've had this question asked to me a lot, hey, I drill with the same person all the time. Do you think I should maybe mix it up or drill? And I'm like, absolutely. Drill with females, drill with males, because every single person has a unique way of hitting the ball. A lot of us do not always come from tennis backgrounds. So you don't always see top spin. You see a lot of flat balls. You see a lot of push balls. You see a lot of roll balls. So mixing up your drilling partner, very important. I would say on average drilling up to for a normal person, I would say drilling 4 hours a week. If you are actually serious about your game, an hour and a half a day, every other day. You can even do it before you do your rec games. Have somebody meet you up here and drill for 30 minutes before you play. Now you're really warmed up. And that's the other thing that I always want to point out. Please warm up. Do not take for granted our bodies. Get the blood flowing. Do some stretching. They don't have to necessarily be stretching like you see, i.e. yoga. It's dynamic. It's warming up, getting
Sounds
the blood
like personal
flowing.
trainer coming back in.
Yeah, and I took for granted when I was on the court 10 hours a day and I was teaching so many hours that I was doing the same repetitive movement going forward. Well, a lot of this needs to go back. You need to reverse that when you come off the court. So these stretching back here is very important. And yes, that personal training, I cannot say enough, but aging population, we need to take care of our bodies.
She's calling us old, apparently.
Aging.
You know, I think you brought up one great point there, you know, changing drilling partners. And also, I know that not everyone's lucky enough, but also just changing the rec play as well. The people you're playing with, if you get a chance
100%.
to change that. Even if you go to a different venue, you see different types of play. I know people play differently here versus over Inglewood versus UMR. So it's really good to change all that up. Again, do you have anything else to add before we wrap it up here?
I think that the new rally scoring, I think people need to give it a chance. It's really fun to play and rec, and it makes your games go by fast. I think that there's so many new things that are coming into pickleball and potential rule changes, and embrace those and have fun with those and experience those and learn those together. It makes the game a lot more fun and you laugh even more. Yeah,
and it just, you know, just makes it more exciting and different change of pace. So thank you very much. This is probably it's going to be probably one of our best podcasts ever. Again, I would really appreciate it if you would please hit that subscribe button. It helps all of us. Again, we have the video online of your gold medal winning.
Can't wait to watch.
And yeah, and check out the sponsors and everything else. And thank you again for your time.
And thank you.
And thank you, Teresa.
No, thank you. Cheers.